It's increasing and they're still trying to figure out why. Italy has reported 168 deaths in 24 hours, raising overall death toll in the country from the coronavirus from 463 to 631. It comes as authorities imposed a lockdown over the weekend to curb the spread of the disease.
It's a pretty odd sight in Italy as the usually bustling city streets of Florence, Rome and Milan lay bare following a government announcement putting the country on lockdown. More than 60 million people have been told they must stay home, not move around other than for work and emergencies, while public gatherings and sporting events including soccer matches have been suspended. Also on lockdown are cinemas, theatres, museums and restaurants. Austria today announced a ban on Italians entering the country unless they carry a medical certificate. The country has seen 158 cases of coronavirus so far. Meanwhile, the EU Commission has expressed concerns about possible shortages in medical and health supply if the coronavirus keeps spreading. France and Germany are the latest in Europe to shut schools as a result of the coronavirus. And the UK has recorded a 6th death from the disease. The British Airways also announced it was cancelling all 60 flights to and from Italy. India has evacuated its citizens from Iran. They arrived this morning and were taken away to be held in quarantine for 14 days. The Holi festival celebrations carried on as planned, but many wore masks as they participated. While passengers entering Israel prepare to quarantine for 14 days after the country required it from anyone arriving from overseas as precaution against the spread of coronavirus, Iran has announced that its death toll has reached 291 from the coronavirus.
Hundreds of family members gathered today for a memorial service at the site where 1 year ago an Ethiopian Airlines jet crashed, killing all 157 on board. The Ethiopian crash came almost 5 months after a strikingly similar crash in Indonesia of the same model aircraft, the Boeing 737 MAX. Let's head to our London studios now, where Simon Pusey has more on this and other international news and around the world in 5.
Hello and good evening from the Channel studio here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The families of passengers and crew aboard Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 marked the first anniversary of the crash on Tuesday, a day after an interim report focused on software installed on the Boeing 737 MAX airliner. Families from nations including Canada, the United States, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Italy and France will attend the ceremony at the crash site, which is about a 3-hour drive from the capital Addis Ababa. The accident killed all 157 people on board. It was the second involving the new 737 MAX plane in just 5 months and led to its worldwide grounding. Joe Biden has been joined on stage in Detroit by 2 former Democratic presidential rivals, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, in the latest sign the party establishment is lining up to back him. The former vice president squares off against Senator Bernie Sanders on Tuesday in Michigan and 5 other states in the battle for the Democratic presidential nomination. A win by Biden, which is the biggest prize in Tuesday's voting, could see the end to Bernie's push for the White House.
I believe with every fiber of my being that we have the capacity, every single generation, save this president. Every single president has moved that arc of inclusion wider and wider and wider and wider. We can't let it shut down. The days of Donald Trump's divisiveness are soon going to be over. And when he's gone, we'll come back. We get back on the roll of building that more perfect union, you know?
The High Court in South Africa has dismissed the findings of an anti-corruption watchdog that said President Cyril Ramaphosa had deliberately misled Parliament over a campaign donation. Last year, the public prosecutor said Mr. Ramaphosa should be investigated over a $36,000 donation he had received from a local company during his campaign to become the leader of the governing party, the ANC. She also said he should be investigated for possible money laundering. In a ruling that will be a significant boost for the president, the High Court found that her findings were irrational and unlawful, and that Mr. Ramaphosa did not need to disclose his campaign funding in Parliament. Women from Brazil and Bolivia have extended the International Women's Day March to support a global strike that has brought together tens of thousands of women who protested against sexist violence and for gender equality. In Bolivia, protesters travelled 12 kilometres between the cities of El Alto and La Paz. Women carried banners rejecting gender violence and purple flags, a symbol of women's struggle for equality. In Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, demonstrators protested against President Jair Bolsonaro and asked for his resignation. And finally, Britain's top royals came together on Monday at Westminster Abbey in their last public family gathering before Prince Harry and his wife Meghan set off on a new career path devoid of official duties. The annual Commonwealth service was also the first time Harry and Meghan had been seen with Queen Elizabeth, his elder brother William and wife Kate and father Prince Charles and wife Camilla since the couple thrashed out an exit deal from their royal roles in January. Harry and Meghan will stop using their HRH titles, will not use royal in their branding, and Harry, who remains a prince, will relinquish his military titles. The January agreement will see the couple, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, seek to carve out a progressive new role, mainly in North America. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Sports Next is next. Here's Charles Aruka.
And many thanks, Millicent. And this is Sports News. Spain's La Liga has confirmed that first and second division matches will be staged behind closed doors for at least 2 weeks due to the coronavirus. The measures follow the decision of the Spanish High Council of Sports that all sporting events in Spain at state and international level should be played without fans to limit the spread of the virus. If the measure is not extended, the next round of matches with supporters will take place on the weekend of April the 4th to April the 5th. And in France, the Football League has also announced that all matches will be played behind closed doors until April the 15th. The decision comes after the French government announced measures to cope with the spread of the coronavirus, including banning all gatherings of more than 1,000 people. Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League match at the Parc des Princes against Borussia Dortmund tomorrow has been ordered to be played behind closed doors. And in the UEFA Champions League matches, Slovenia international Josip Lilic scored 4 goals as Atlanta progressed to the quarterfinals with an aggregate win over Valencia at Mestalla Stadium. The Italian side became the first debutants to qualify for the quarterfinals after Leicester City in 2016-2017. Marcel Sabitzer scored 2 first-half goals as RB Leipzig reached the last 8 after an aggregate win over Tottenham Hotspur. And that's it on Sports News. Back to Millicent with the wrap.
Thank you, Charles. And the main news again. Academic activities came to a halt in some universities across the country following the start of a 2-week warning strike by ASU. House of Representatives have moved to end rift between lecturers and federal government. Also today, President Buhari resolved to sanitize the NDDC, said over 3.7 billion naira recovered from directors of the agency and its contractors as he inaugurated Commission's Advisory Committee. And that's News at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night.